Hey friends, great to have you here today. I am wearing my blue light glasses, and I mention that because for my friends who listen and watch on YouTube, my blue light glasses are red, and I love them. And I think I got them for free at some point at like a giveaway at an event I attended. And these blue light glasses have been saving my eyes as I have spent way more time in front of a computer screen. And the reason I spend way more time in front of a computer screen is that I am in a PhD program at Boise State. I shared this a couple of days ago on social media. So the PhD program that I am involved in is it's called Public Policy and Administration, and it's an interdisciplinary program that prepares students to become leaders in several different fields within their interest or purview, but mostly in like government entities, nonprofit entities, anything that has to do with, let's see, I have this like pulled up because there's so many different things. And applied research environments. So mostly fields that have to do like with public service. And so it's a program that allows me to focus on all of the pieces of the government, which is quite a lot. My eyes, I will say, have been opened, and I feel like I knew a lot about the government before I started, and how to be a leader and how to understand people who work within the government. So it's interesting because I started in education as a teacher, and then I got a master's in adult organizational learning and leadership. So I have this background in education, like the secondary experience, and then my master's being centered around like how adults learn, organizational leadership, culture, and how those components overlay over a business. And I got my master's while I was a what was I? Oh my gosh, my mind blanked. I've been staring at a computer screen so much as a school board member. And so it was really awesome to be able to take those components of organizational leadership and culture and how adults learn and overlay that over like a school district, a school board, and being a leader of a public service entity. And then also as a nonprofit leader. So the thing that is fascinating but also challenging about the public policy and administration PhD is that it's so wide. And I am in classes with people. I mean, I don't even know why I'm going into this, but I'm just in classes with people who have an interest in like there's someone who's interested in the environmental components of the government. There are a couple of people who are interested in policy that deals with art and public spaces and placemaking. There is someone who is interested in housing. And I've met people who are focused on higher education, integrating AI into government services. And there are a couple of us that are interested in education policy. And I've got someone like who is major background in education policy and funding. And so it's really neat to be able to come together and talk about these things and talk about how the government works and understanding policy and the programs that are within the government. Okay, now I'm telling you this because of my red light glasses and I've been staring at a computer screen. But also, there are a lot of government programs that are so valuable for us as citizens and just people that live in the United States. And so the thing that I wanted to share with you today. Sorry, I just saw a text message come through. I always put on a do not disturb, but my family members, those text messages get through. So, okay, that was the reason for the pause for a second. This podcast episode feels way less I think way less formal than my other podcasts that I put out so far. So hopefully maybe you enjoyed a little bit of background about my life. I don't know. I was commenting to someone that it is very different to be a solo host on a podcast versus a co-host. And I've done the co-host thing and it's awesome to have the dialogue back and forth. And I do have guests lined up to come up because to come on the podcast because that they have such valuable information too. But also sometimes it is just me sharing information. And so that in sometimes feels funny to me where I just continue to talk. Okay. Anyways, enough about what's going on in my head. A program that I wanted to share deals with education, and it is a program that is intended to help 7th through 12th graders in our education system. And so many parents don't know about it. And even the parents who do know about it don't know all the particulars about how it works. And so that is what I'm going to be talking about with you today is this program that Idaho has that is described. It was described in a news article from Utah, a Utah news channel. It's called Deseret News. It was described as innovative. And the Wall Street Journal actually commented that American educators should look to Idaho for inspiration in better preparing students for college and careers. And this is significant because Idaho is often dubbed as this state that doesn't do a very good job on education. So often we hear our numbers are super low, and it is true. Idaho, in terms of what they spend per student as compared to maybe some other states, is not as much if you're comparing maybe apples to oranges in reference to cost of living and different components. And I will acknowledge that I do think that Idaho does not spend enough on education, and that is a conversation for another time. But this is a program in which Idaho is leading, and so I think it's so important to highlight. I do want to acknowledge that other states do have types of programs like what I'm about to share, but I don't think that they have incorporated it into such a way that gives students the power to make decisions about their future. And that's a really important component because students, when we empower them and when we empower people in general, and we give them the resources to be able to make decisions for their own lives, that is so essential for their success instead of just making decisions on their behalf. So, without further ado, the program that I want to tell you about is referred to as Advanced Opportunities, and it's been around the state for actually a long time. I think it was rebranded in 2016. It was called something else. And they switched it over to what is now referred to as Advanced Opportunities, which is a program that allows students to use their high school learning as a jumpstart for their future. And there's lots of different options that I'm going to tell you about within this program and how it connects with the funding source and the online source for accessing classes, which is what a majority of students will use it for. So the thing that's tricky about this is that there's not just one place to get information on it. And I'm going to include some links in the notes on the episode, so you can just link right out to it and look at them. But basically, Advanced Opportunities is a program that the state funds, and they allow, wait, let me stop for a second. The state doesn't fund Advanced Opportunities in terms of, okay, I'm going to stop. Okay. Advanced Opportunities is a program that is funded by fast forward funding. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So as Idahoans, we have this program called Advanced Opportunities where students can access different components to be able to advance their education. It is funded by a program called Fast Forward Funding. And that program, Fast Forward Funding, allots $4,125 per student in the state of Idaho. And that $4,125 for students in public education, get to use those funds starting in the 7th grade. Now, this is part of the program that I think often gets lost when parents don't know about it during those middle school years. And this is where I think the state could really do a better job at messaging to parents this resource that is available that really should be starting to like brew in their minds when they have students in 5th and 6th grade, so that they can learn about it, they can understand how students can access this resource. So Advanced Opportunities has a couple of different components to it. Basically, it allows Idaho public school students to use the $4,125 in 4 different areas. And I'll dive into these areas, but the first area is known as an overload course. An overload course is when your student is enrolled in public school and they have full credit, like they're taking the required amount of credits per semester as starting in 7th grade, and then they overload that. So they take one extra class. Now, one might think, why would a high schooler do that? Well, or starting in 7th grade, why would they do that? You do that so that you can work through courses faster, so that you can get to more advanced courses. And those advanced courses allow you to get college credit. I'm going to describe this in a scenario in a moment with my oldest son did this. And I think when I lay this out, it will make sense. So that's what an overload course is. Overload courses can also be used during the summer, where you're at home and you want your kid to be doing something during the summer that is educational. Well, they can take an overload course that is paid for by Fast Forward funding through the Advanced Opportunities program. Here's the third term that's really important in this three components to Advanced Opportunities. It's referred to as IDLA. That stands for Idaho Digital Learning Alliance. And IDLA, or Idaho Digital Learning Alliance, is an online platform that allows students, grades 7 to 12, to access online courses. And so a student during the summertime and during those overload courses during the school year can access high school credit. And they can take courses that are required by their school over the summertime and overload during the school year. So an example of this, I'll just hop to an example of this, was when my son was a 7th grader. We just realized that he had an interest in taking some overload courses. And the reason he wanted to take some overload courses was because initially he thought maybe he would graduate early. He'd get his high school diploma early. And then he'd also be able to have some college credits to move forward into college. Well, by the time he became he was 16 and we could see that maybe he could graduate within the school year. I said to him, just so you know, you're not going to be able to leave this house until you're 18 years old. So even if you have graduated, you don't get to like move out yet and go off to college. Like you still have to stay at home. And he was like, oh, maybe this isn't exactly what I want to do. Maybe I should shift gears. And so he shifted gears, but before he shifted gears, when he was in the 7th grade, he took a high school history class. And the reason this is significant is because IDLA offers middle school courses, high school courses, and dual credit college courses. So when he took the required 10th grade history class when he was a 7th grader as an overload course, this freed up his schedule for one semester in high school. And the reason that's significant is because when they get to those high school years and they want to maybe have a little bit more variety in their schedule, or they want to take a CTE career technical education course pathway, taking some of those courses early allows them that opportunity. It frees up a period, like a class period that was required. They did it earlier. So that was a course he took. Now I'm here to tell you that was actually really hard for him to do. And because it's geared towards 10th graders. So what we did what I like figured out were some of the courses on IDLA are easier to take. And so he took some of those less challenging courses as an 8th and 9th grader, so that when he got into high school, then he had just more flexibility in his schedule. So a couple of the courses that are, I'm just going to like give you a tip now, ready? Some of the courses that are great to take through IDLA are the PE required courses. I think they're called like personal fitness, and all high schoolers are required to take at least one semester of personal fitness. So you can take personal fitness through IDLA. And I always recommend high schoolers taking personal fitness during the summertime, because then it frees up their schedule when they're like during the regular academic year to take courses that they might prefer to take. So there are a lot of students who take music classes or who take art classes who want to take multiple art or music classes. And so utilizing IDLA as either an overload or a summer course allows them to do that, because then basically how this works, I just want to explain this one more time to make sure it like lays out in your head for you. If you have a personal fitness class that you have to take your freshman year, but you take it as a student, you take it the summer before your freshman year, then you have one class during your first semester that is free that you get to choose for an elective. You get to choose something else. So that could be a CTE course, that could be a music course, right? That could be like a language course. You could get ahead in your language requirement. It really allows that flexibility of choice where you get to choose what you want more often. So I recommend the personal fitness course. I recommend health as another one they take either during the summer as an overload. Generally, that is an easier course to take online. At my students' district, I'm in West Ada, a lot of the like all the kids are required to take a health class. I recommend taking it through IDLA. And then another course that I recommend them taking is speech. One of my kids took speech through IDLA, and it was just a really kind of simple class to take. And it's not a challenge. It wasn't like super challenging for the kids to take at the high school class either. I think I had two kids take it during regular high school, and then I had one take it through the IDLA class. But I just noticed that it was nice. And I have a kid who is a band, like he plays the trumpet. And so that IDLA class allowed him some flexibility in his schedule in taking some more band classes, which are his preference. So that's the benefit of advanced opportunities in utilizing those overload courses through IDLA. If you have any questions, please send me a message. I tried really hard just to explain that. Okay, so moving on to another component of advanced opportunities are the dual credit classes. So dual credit classes are courses that your high school student can take during their regular class day that are dual credit. So they are for high school credit and they are also for college credit. And what's great around the state of Idaho is that if your student is going to go to an Idaho college and they take a dual credit course, it's going to transfer to that public school, that college for them to take. So the dual credit courses cost about $75, and that cost is covered by that fast forward funding. And another bonus of the dual credit are that teachers get paid a little bit extra for that dual credit course because they have to have specific training for that. And they have to understand what the requirements are from the college. And so I know one teacher at my kid's school, and when he has his students sign up for the dual credit for his course, he uses that funding for classroom resources, which I think is a really nice thing. I just think that's a really nice gesture. He doesn't have to do that, but he does. So that's the second component of advanced opportunities is the dual credit payment. So there are lots of students that take dual credit in during their high school experience, and the teacher and the counselors walk them through how to set up an account and how to pay for that. So often parents aren't even aware of it unless they are aware of it because they receive an email for it. So that's the second component. The third component is that there are a lot of AP, advanced placement courses, that are offered at high school, and the fast forward funding will pay for the exams for the AP tests, which are fantastic. They also pay for international baccalaureate tests, college level examination program tests, and career and technical education exams. So that's what's great, is it's not just for kids who are headed off to college, but also for kids who want to develop a career path and go towards career right after high school. So that's this funding, and this program also pays for that. The fourth component that I actually learned about when I was reading was that the Advanced Opportunities Program also pays for workforce training, because a lot of our students want to figure out how to utilize their high school time to get ready to enter the workforce, which is a great time to do that. So, this Advanced Opportunities allots for this fast forward funding to pay for regionally approved workforce training courses at Idaho public colleges in your local area. They'll pay up to $500 per course or $1,000 per year to utilize for this. So that's a great resource too, to be able to pay for those different exams. Okay, so as a review, Advanced Opportunities is a program that is funded through Fast Forward funding, and every student gets $4,125 starting when they are a seventh grader. This is often advertised to high schoolers, but you can start in the seventh grade. And it allows you to, one, do overload and summer courses through IDLA, the Idaho Digital Learning Alliance. It allows students to pay for dual credit courses that they take during their school year. It allows them to pay for all sorts of different types of exams, including AP exams, which are the most popular, those are the most utilized. And it allows for workforce training. So that's what Advanced Opportunities allots. How do you begin? Well, you begin by reaching out to your school counselor or college career advisor and asking them about the Advanced Opportunities Program and saying, my kid's interested in this. How do we utilize this? You can develop a learning plan saying that, like, this is where I want to go, this is where I'm starting, and working within what is offered. You can contact a college or university when your student is ready to transition from high school to college. And you can also create an Advanced Opportunities account. Now, like I mentioned, I'm going to link some different things in the show notes for you to be able to just go out and look right at those websites. The Advanced Opportunities website is pretty good. The IDLA website is a great place to see all the courses that are offered and to kind of get your mind generating on things that are like, what is really out there? What can I really utilize? I had a friend who said when she was like her daughter was starting her freshman year, and she was saying, like, well, this is the class she's taking, and she's kind of frustrated because she didn't really want to take these classes, and she was hoping for some more flexibility in her schedule. And I said, hey, she can have flexibility in her schedule because she actually doesn't have to take this course right now. She can take this course during the summertime, and then it will free up this class period during her freshman year. And it was this great, it was a little bit clunky for them, maybe working with a school counselor and getting the ball rolling. But once they did, they really saw the value that this program offers students. The other component is that when you go in and you create that IDLA account, the fast forward funding pays for those classes. So the fast forward funding pays for all of those things. And again, the thing that's great is that it's innovative. It offers this funding and freedom of choice. And this is why this program was highlighted in this news article out of the state of Utah, saying that, hey, this is a great program that Idaho is utilizing, and more states should look to Idaho to see how they are creating these innovative funding and freedom opportunities for their students, and really instilling in students the opportunity of choice to plan for their future. The thing that's great, just like a couple of stats, are that in the fiscal year of 2019, over 36,000 students participated in this program in Idaho. That's huge. And that for every dollar spent by the state on dual credit classes, it saves a family $4.58 on potential cost of tuition. That's data from the Idaho Ed News. So this program really saves parents quite a bit of money. And the thing that I love that they said, that it was actually it was a state congressman who helped create this program. And part of it is that it's one of Idaho's innovative ways to help rural Idaho with their future for college and career readiness, are that they stated that it's not a program. The kids feel like it's their money. It's not a state program they have to access. It's theirs. And that's a huge psychological difference. So that's just something that one of the leaders in the state was highlighting, that this is something that states, that it is a program, but it is the student's money. They do get $4,125, and they have that purchasing power to be able to choose if and how they want to use the program. So, two takeaways from the podcast today. One, not enough people know about the Advanced Opportunities Program, which is why I wanted to come and tell you about it. The Advanced Opportunities Program is linked with that fast forward funding. Fast forward funding is what pays for it. And it is also connected to the Idaho Digital Learning Alliance, which is an online website that allows you to access courses to be able to take for that overload or summertime experience starting as a 7th grader. The other main takeaway for me today is that this Advanced Opportunities Program really is a gateway to new educational experiences, and not just a gateway to new educational experiences, but a gateway into the future of education. The fact is, education is changing, and it continues to change with the evolution of technology and AI, and the way that we have all sorts of different people, even in the state of Idaho, where we have our rural students and our urban students and everyone in between. And so this is a great program that, while I acknowledge it can always improve, it's a great place to start. And it's a great resource for us as parents to be aware of. And it's also, I think, a great beacon for other states around the country to look to know how to foster that empowerment within students to really take hold and direct where they want their future to go. Thanks so much for joining the podcast today. I just want to, if you're liking what you're hearing, if you would go and follow and maybe even leave a review, that would be great. And I am interested to know in what you are interested in learning about. I do know a lot about the education field. And so if you have this idea like, hey, Lex, I would really appreciate it if you spoke about this thing, please let me know. I'd love to talk about it. Happy fall, everyone.